Cool.
And you start it up when you're ready.
All right, there it goes.
All right. And we're back
We're back.
to
Technical.
no one watching the live stream.
we've, we've
Hey, man.
got
What
Neil Hamilton's Dread Elves
what
versus
was that? That was weird.
Noah
Sorry.
Dorsey's Warriors of the Dark Gods.
Oh, okay. Huh.
So, Warriors of the Dark Gods, this list has got a lot of the Forsworn happening in a big unit being led by a Doom Lord. That thing is tough as nails.
Yeah.
Um, I
Who's
don't
his
know.
opponent? Whose opponent is the guy on the screen here?
Yeah, he's got
Okay.
the three um, Raptor Chariots.
Oh, it's this guy. This is the Dark Elf list that I was looking at, and I was like, it was the wrong one at the time.
Yeah,
So, okay, yeah.
he's got Peter Auxiliaries. He's got Dark Riders with crossbows. He's got Executioners and Dread Knights as kind of his hitters.
He's got 18 Raven Cloaks and 3 Reapers. Yeah,
And,
man.
and a unit of crossbowmen and 2 units of fast cap with crossbows.
Yeah, this is a very, very dark elfy. I'm getting very dark elfy vibes from this list.
Yeah.
What are the two characters? He's got the BSB. That's all he is. And what's his other general?
There's a
Wizard Master on Witchcraft?
Witchcraft with the familiar. So you get line of sight to stuff happening.
Yeah, I never quite know what to make of Witchcraft.
Well, if he's got some,
it's got a lot of little spells that can help in different phases, but it just whenever I look at it, it's just like, oh yeah, that's why I don't use this.
well, honestly, I think it can be pretty. I think I know what he's trying to kind of go for here because, you've got these Raven Cloaks, these skirmishing shooter guys. If you can use and the chariots as well. If you can use Raven's Wing to get them into cute little positions. I mean, I think that's the biggest strength in my mind with Witchcraft is the Raven's Wing spell. Just being able to teleport units to different parts of the board, magical move.
Absolutely, I completely agree, which is why it's kind of weird that it's a master.
Sure.
Instead of bringing like 2 apprentices.
Right.
But whatever.
And Noah's list, yeah, he's got the Doom Lords, got a bunch of Forsaken here.
I gotta go with the. Well, all right. Sorry. Go ahead, John.
Oh, it's just Ryan. He's got that giant spawn and things like that.
The Exalted Herald.
Yeah, I think the shooting against Noah is definitely gonna hurt. Noah can't compete in the shooting phase. He doesn't compete in the shooting phase. I mean, Warriors just can't in general, really. So, I think this is going to be really tricky for Noah. I'm going to give this one to the Dark Elves, I think, because if this guy obviously, he's playing a very skill-based, movement-based, positioning-based list, and it's a bunch of avoidance, really. Yeah. And I think Warriors struggle with these kinds of lists that are very evasive and have lots of shooting as well. So I kind of see this going like Noah getting whittled down and having a hard time getting into the combats he wants to. So I'm leaning towards the Dark Elves on this one.
Yeah, I think I agree. Dark Elves, that amount of shooting is a little too much for this list to handle. Yeah, I gotta go with the Dark Elves too. Shooting is gonna win the day though. And if it doesn't,
Hamilton.
Yeah. If the shooting breaks down for whatever reason, like terrain placement, deployment issues, those kind of things, then go the other way. But
yeah, but you look at this shooting. Yeah, he's got quite a bit of it, but outside of the bolt throwers, it's all strength 3, right?
Yeah, but it hits a lot. Shades have really good aim, and I think that they kind of. I think if they're the right one of those cults, I think when you get in short range, something happens with your shooting where it's like you +1 strength or something. I can't remember.
+1 to
but
hit.
okay.
I can look that up real quick.
It might only be strength 3, but it's going to be a lot of hits. And it's going to be AP1. Definitely. Yeah, I wouldn't underestimate Shades. Their shooting output can be pretty gross.
Is there a switchcraft spell that makes them have battle focus while shooting?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, that's the thing of it too, right? So, okay, yeah. So obviously, that's this guy's game plan. He's gonna, Raven swing around, stay out of combat. It's gonna help him to avoid combat. He's gonna use the battle focus spell, targeting, one of Noah's nastiest units, and he's just gonna pump everything he's got into it, and it's gonna be really bad for the Warriors player. So.
Are you on board with that too, Cody?
Decently. I think the Warriors lack some of the movement tricks that a Hellmob brings to them to make this kind of list more fun. But it does have the Exalted Herald, which could cause issues if it's not dealt with.
So models like that for Noah have to be the heavy lifters here. And also,
Yeah, so it's +1 to hit.
Okay, for the short range thing. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be that, Noah has to use his, solo models. And also, question, he's got that giant spawn. I know it's a random mover. But the thing with random movers, they've got the rule now where you have to have something in your front arc to have charged it. Or is that not the case? That's only for the... Oh, yeah, that is the case. Okay.
Pretty sure.
If you are in the front arc... Really? I don't think that's how that works.
Well, so I know for sure that for the Infernal Dwarves train, it says that to charge something, you have to have it in your front arc, even though your random movement, it specifically goes out of its way to say that in the train's rules.
Yeah.
So if random movers can still charge stuff 360, then the giant spawn for Noah is gonna also, that's gonna have to be MVP. And also I think that's gonna be the Dread Elves' biggest fear, really, because that's something that, Shades are good at getting on flanks of stuff and shooting them and then not being able to be charged. But if the spawn can just react like that, then that's gonna give Dread Elf player a lot of problems, I think.
I think that's a caveat on that one model.
You mean the train?
Yeah.
So random movers, yeah, okay. So if he can charge 360, 3d6 random movement, then that's definitely Noah can use that to zone, the Dread Elves from certain areas. Because
absolutely.
If the Dread Elf player is smart, he's not going to want to put his Shades anywhere near that giant spawn.
All right, so you're both on board with that. I am going to say that the Warriors of the Dark Gods have this.
Okay.
The only thing that they realistically have to be scared of is the Executioners.
Yeah, I mean, in combat, you mean? Sure.
No. So all those 20 warrior models are all Resilience 5. So that light shooting's not going to do anything.
They'll be slow.
So the Executioners have the ability to do multiple wounds 2 against standard. So that doesn't really help them that much.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking that it gave them lethal strike, but it does not.
Yeah, and unfortunately, even though it's multi-wounds 2 standard, you don't get 2 wounds on an.
If you only have 1 wound anyway, then it doesn't matter.
Right, exactly. I used to think that Executioners would do 2 wounds per 1 wound to these units, but no, it's basically just against characters and the other few odd things that are standard sized with multiple wounds, which there aren't that many.
You got to be careful of the bolt throwers. That's going to be the biggest thing that you have to worry about before you get into combat. I don't think Witchcraft's that good. You really just have to focus on stopping the 1 or 2 spells each turn that would make any sort of a difference, and the other ones you can just kind of let through. I think that this is going to be an uphill battle for the Dark Elves.
You really think so? Okay.
Yeah. I mean, yes, it's just standard with any shooting army, you have to stay positive when you're just removing models. And then once you get into combat, once you start doing stuff, I don't see this army, the Dark Elves, being able to hold up to the combat prowess of even half strength units of the Warriors.
Sure. Well, yeah. Well, and I think, again, the Dark Elf player, I don't think he wants to fight, at all. He's got the Executioners, but like,
which is just weird because he's got the Knights, he's got the Chariots, he's got the Executioners.
So they're all charge deterrents. I mean, well, the Knights and the Chariots specifically, they've got that long threat range charge, so they're just kind of like loaded guns. He points them at you, and he's like, "All right, you better not come over here and touch me, because I'll charge you with my chariot."
I don't know. I'm going to go with Warriors of the Dark Gods.
Sure.
I agree with you with everything you're saying about just staying out of range and shooting him to death. But we'll see.
Could be tough for the Dark Elves to execute that. I'll give you that for sure.
It's just the resilience of, I mean, the Giant Spawn's resilience 6. Exalted Herald's 5. Both of them have Aegis or regen saves. The Block of Warriors is resilience 5. The Forsworn are 4s, but they've got the 2-up armor save.
Right.
And if you screen them properly with your other units, I don't know.
I think definitely the Dark Elf player's got his work cut out for him, because everything he's shooting is tough as nails. So he's basically, shooting a staple gun into a boulder. It's going to be tough. Several boulders.
All right, so that one's a 2-1.
Sounds good.
Who's next?
Go Noah.
Who is next? We have Gabe.
Okay. Yeah. And
versus James Starr on VC.
A VC list. Okay, let's. James Starr. Which one was he?
Is this the dragon list?
Yeah.
This is the 1240 point dragon guy.
Yeah.
Oh no. All right. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and take a very controversial and very bold prediction. Very brave. I'm gonna go ahead and say that Gabe's got this one.
Yeah, it's Undead versus KOE though, man. KOE has got some issues against it.
KOE always has a hard time versus Undead.
Well, so it's just the fact that his Lord is so expensive, right? And Gabe's Lord is literally designed to knock models like that out. So here's what I'm thinking, right? He'll blow that thing up, and then all these units like 24 skeletons, 30 ghouls, 15 barrel guard, 8 wraiths, 5 vamp. These are all kind of lower model. If Gabe just like charges any one of these units, provided they're not the ethereal ones or something, with his big banner, the last charge guys, the impact hit unit, I think it'll just blow him up.
Yeah.
So I think like Gabe's looking at this, and if he realizes it, he'll say like, "Wow, everything I charge, I could probably just blow up in one turn almost."
There is a mistake on the picture for Gabe's army. It only has 1 trebuchet, not 2. So.
Never mind. Gabe loses. He only has 1.
Yeah, right. He only has 1 treb. That's a little less.
That's it.
But yeah, this Duke on a Hippogriff matches up pretty darn well against the dragon when he's as long as the Duke gets the charge.
Yeah, but you can't look at things just like this one model kills this one model.
That's true. That is.
I mean,
true.
that Duke is not that good against the rest of the army.
That is also true.
Yeah, fighting these other smaller units would kind of just be a waste of his time. He could get stuck in ghouls for sure.
It's all about if he can James can keep his dragon out of combat. And with the 8/16 fly, I don't think that's going to be that big of a problem.
No, I mean the Hippogriff matches.
And then James has a severe advantage in magic.
Yeah, definitely.
He's got
this is the 16
evocation, I believe, on one of his guys, and cosmology on the other. I think that James can blast that Duke out of the sky before it sees combat.
That would also be an option.
Yeah. I mean, the magic. You're absolutely right. Magic advantage heavily favoring vampire counts.
Does he have any protection from magic? Not a lot.
Just the blessing.
Yeah. So
Yeah, it doesn't have the binding scroll, for example, for that.
Oh, sure. I mean, he's got a little bit of healing with Pathodruidism, but
yeah,
it could be.
It's interesting.
Could be tough, honestly, for Gabe because I mean, Vampire Knights are pretty nasty, and there are some things. He's got tons of champions, so Gabe's Duke is gonna have a lot of opportunities to get challenged out of combats. For example, like Gabe charges this vampire count on the dragon. Maybe somehow he doesn't blow it up in one turn, and then
that won't
oh well, okay, well. Maybe that wasn't the best example. But anyway, point being, these champions are useful. Okay? All right.
Absolutely. So one of the big things that he might be able to do is just put a chaff unit in front of the dragon. Duke charges, the chaff overruns into the dragon. Yes, it's in combat, but if you can get something else to countercharge and then challenge him out for the Duke's, when he counts as charging, then suddenly the Duke is much less scary.
Look at Warner giving out fighting Bretonian Lords advice. Jeez.
Well, you guys are going with the Bretts on this. I'm going with the undead. Go Vamps!
Someone's got to look out for those undead.
Plus, you also have to look at this, and you have to wonder how serious Gabe is going to be at this tournament.
Well, he's got a lot of beautiful models.
He's there to win Best Painted.
He will, too, with that army just about.
I'm not saying that he will or won't, because I'm not going to compete with him, but I don't know all the people that are coming.
Yeah, his stuff is gorgeous.
So I always love to see the really nice painted armies, and that's why I'm happy that he's coming.
Yeah.
But you just have to wonder like how serious he's going to take it, especially if he shows up and he's like, yeah, I got the best painted in the bag.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, you guys will have fun. You're going to end up playing against Gabe, and he's like, not serious, huh?
Yeah, it'll probably be on like the number one table last game. Not serious, huh? And then he runs me over, and it's just, yeah.
You're going to have PTSD after this one.
That's fine, and I'll eat my words.
All right.
All right, so
we got
Cody, did you say?
I'm going to go with the lady.
All right, 2-1 again.
2-1.
Looks like I'm picking the underdogs this round.
Warner's the underdogs. We'll see.
Definitely, I'll say it's definitely not cut and dry with James. He could pull it out.
Then again, I don't really know James either, and he is bringing that meme vampire, so maybe he's not too focused on winning either. We'll see.
That vampire better look gorgeous. There's going to need some pictures of this.
I'm going to be so disappointed if it's unpainted. So James,
all right, what
back
do we got?
to work.
Vampire Covenant versus Infernal Dwarves.
Ah.
We get to see the train.
Oh, it's this guy with this 12, the 12 big monstrous cab things.
Otero versus the vampires.
Versus the beef.
Oh, yeah. Otero is the vampires versus the train and
the cattle.
Whatever those things are.
Yeah.
The cattle.
The Angry Bulls.
Angry Bulls. Yeah. Where is Otero? There you are. Hey, look. I have pictures.
So, okay. So whose list are we talking about first? Because I'm looking at Infernal right now. Are we talking about...
Yeah, let's look at the Infernal real quick.
Because, okay, honestly, first thing I noticed right off the bat, this guy's got Essence of a Free Mind with Alchemy Pyromancy, so he's got the tools he's going to need to have effective magic against David.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which is important because David's got one of the strongest Death Star units I've seen here.
For sure.
It's all about how you grab it, though.
It is.
But I mean, he's got the cannon, and he's got the magic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, Otero's got some speed on his side, and he's got that True Thirst going to keep his unit up.
Once he's in combat.
Once he's in combat, yeah. So, oh man, running that unit versus a unit of greater Torque Anointeds would be really interesting.
Yeah, just to see who comes out on top.
Yeah. Because the Barrow Guard. Yeah.
What magic does Otero have again?
Otero's magic is Witchcraft on a Wizard Master General. So it's all about
and Alchemy on another Wizard Master.
And Alchemy on another Wizard Master.
I thought that he had 2 masters.
Yep. So. Man.
Yeah, I mean, I think, really, David's definitely got his work cut out for him with this guy. This Infernal Dwarves list definitely strikes me as a list that could absolutely, win a combat hard enough to cause these knights to crumble out.
That's going to be tough as long as the king is alive and the general's alive because of the bodyguard situation happening.
All right, so one thing is that the Infernal Dwarves do have a single binding scroll.
Yeah, that's an important.
So they can stop the heal on one turn or something else. I mean, outside of that bus, what are the Infernal Dwarves scared of?
The Vampire Knights are a little scary.
A little bit.
They could potentially, do some damage to the Doom Train, even
Sure.
with the Strength 7 on the charge. So
they don't have a 2-up though. So between the magic and the massive shooting, especially from the Infernal Engine with the D3 wounds per shot, I don't know if that Vampire Knights are going to be around much for very long. Because the Vampire Knights have 2 wounds apiece. That Demon Engine does D3 per.
Yeah.
And it's, what is it? It's a D6 plus
2 shots
or something for shots.
Probably hit on 5s at best.
So, then you've got your magic to be able to take out 1 or 2 of those knights as well. Because he's probably, if he wants to take alchemy for the armor or pyromancy for the massed troops.
Where's the sharpener gun? There it is.
Yeah, D6 plus 2.
Quick to fire though, so you can.
AP3, multiple wounds.
This guy with the Taruks, they've got this thing where, they both got banners, and they basically both have double banners because their banner of Shamut gives them +1 more combat res. Yep. If you were to somehow get both of those units onto something, that's gonna freaking suck for undead, right? Massive combat resolution. Yeah. Especially since banners are cumulative now. So that would basically just be before anything happens, +4 combat res for the Taruks.
Yeah.
And that's not even that unreasonable to think about that actually happening in a game, because undead can't flee. Their movement 7 swift stride. They're a little slower than the Black Knights, but he brought these Hobgoblin chieftains. He can just and David's got not that great shooting, so he can just kind of ranged threats or anything. So yeah.
That night bus is very scary for most armies. I do not think that this army is that scared of it. You get those Tarok Anointeds into it, I think it's going to start crumbling. I don't think it depends on who gets the charge. If the Anointed get the charge, then you're relying on your vampires to do damage because your knights aren't going to do it.
Yep.
Yeah. The Resilience 5, these Taruks, with a 2-up on the charge. That's no bullshit right there, They're very good.
That said,
yeah, who we thinking, guys?
All right, I'll go first because I've been going after you guys on the other ones. I'm going to go with vampires on this one. I
Okay.
think that the rezzing is going to do it in. Just tie up those big anointed units until you can hit them in the flank with your big knight unit, and then they go away.
Sure. All right. Definitely not immune to breaking combat, so that's true.
Yep.
Well, I think it's gonna. Gosh, I think also vampires here because the Infernal Dwarves. I mean, this is like a ton of great shooting, and he's got the right magic choices for David as well. Even but as we all know, against undead, shooting is not as impactful as against other armies, and David doesn't really have anything like a Terrageist or a big solo model that can get blown up with some good shooting. So.
Right.
I think, this list's shooting is going to be less effective than it could be. The Tarek Anointeds are really awesome here, but it's going to be up to them to do most of the work here. And, I mean, the Infernal Engine also definitely can be very powerful as well.
Yeah, I mean, the Infernal Engine just has the Vampire Knights as its target, realistically.
Yeah, and, they can hold up any unit basically for the entire game.
Yeah.
Any of his like ghouls or skeletons or anything, just they could just hold that line pretty much forever.
Right.
Yeah, honestly I think it's definitely very possible for David to win this. Overall, he's got kind of like the speed advantage, and it's gonna be, I think the Infernal Dwarves Hobgoblin Archers aren't gonna be very impactful here. So yeah, I think David for sure.
I agree.
I think it's going to be close.
I
think it'll come down to one or two rolls.
Yeah.
But vampires just have so much more lenience in how easy they are to play. So they're very forgiving for mistakes.
We got Warner's Nemesis coming up. Warner, you and your opponent are the next.
Joy.
Oh shit.
Pretty much.
Well, what do you think, Warner? You got what it takes?
I don't know.
It's
That unit, though, is just ridiculous against the majority of my army. The shit. The lethal strike is what really hurts. And they've all got great weapons.
They don't have the multi-wound against standard, do they? Or do they?
They have the black banner of Zigafurt. I know I said that wrong. I don't care.
Yeah,
banner of the xylophone.
They do multiple wounds too against standard size. So
yes. So I can't my two characters normally do a lot of heavy lifting for this army, and they won't be able to do anything against that unit.
Yeah. This is definitely a tough matchup for you, I think, right? Because you're a combat army, but this guy has just, no.
Oh, he can lose his three other block units and not give a flying fuck.
Right. No, he's Death Starring even harder than I've ever seen Warriors do it. So it's just like that's crazy.
I don't know about more than Warriors could do it, but more than I'm doing it.
Well, it's more than I've seen, is what I'm trying.
Right.
But I have no doubt Warriors could probably outdo it.
I don't know what the max size unit on those Barrow Guard are, but that unit is just under 1,000 points. And most of the time in ninth, they're trying to cap units cost at about 800, and that's about 200 points more than generally what ninth age guys are capping units at.
Yeah, that is a maxed unit, by the way, almost, because Barrow Guard can only go up to 40 models.
40, so that's 37, I believe.
Right. So he's pretty much right there.
He's like, oh,
Yeah.
I guess I can get rid of some barrel guard to get under points.
He's like, I wanted 60, but you know. Guess I'm not allowed to have fun. No, I'm just kidding.
We'll see. I think that this will be determined in the movement phase.
Oh,
Yeah.
definitely. I mean, one of the most important phases for both of your armies.
Yep.
So,
That said, if I think that movement phase is going to determine the outcome of this matchup, then I'm going to take a small victory.
Yeah. The Helmaw just gives you too much flexibility.
right. You have portals.
I'm faster than 90% of his army. Which is all
Excuse me.
okay, 90% of his models. Because he's only movement 4-8. He's got no like acceleration from magic or from banners. He's just got those 2 beasties and the 2 units of guests. Yeah.
Yeah.
Warriors, small victory.
I kind of agree. I think he's going to have a hard time keeping up with you. The Barrow Guard are very slow and unwieldy. He's going to have a hard time, you know. He can't like spend the whole game constantly reforming to like make sure that, you know, he's got charge on your units or things like this. So it's going to be, yeah, I think you've got more tools to get around and hunt out his small units.
Mm-hmm.
They can't flee, you know, so you
Right.
you got your little cowboys going around beating stuff up. And then he's like, why can't I fly with my grave guard? No.
Yeah, that banner of Zag or whatever, zigzag, let's just call it that.
The zigzag banner.
It's the black
Yeah.
banner.
It's really good, but I mean, I like one of the other undead lists that at least gives that unit swift stride with one of his characters.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
Just something. I mean, this unit is slow.
Yeah.
So you just play avoidance, kill off what you can, and get the small victory.
Yeah.
Cody?
Have you given your determination on this, Cody?
No, but I'm gonna go with what Universal Battle said, and that Warner's gonna flub all of his rolls and lose.
Yeah. If I roll 1s and 2s for everything, then I lose.
Well, thank God this isn't a UB tournament, I suppose, huh?
Yes, absolutely, 100%. My luck on UB is so bad.
I had a player play me on UB the other day. He got 16 hits with a Flock of Doom and 9 wounds with it. 9 sixes. Yeah.
Isn't that strength 1?
Strength 1, yeah, right. Exactly. Just like, are you kidding me, dude? You asshole.
All
Never
right,
happens.
the final matchup.
Oh, who's the final matchup?
This is the Demons of Billy Smith.
We have demons. Oh,
Mhm.
yeah.
You have one demon army.
That's right. That's right.
Versus
I think we reviewed this army before you joined the other day.
Yeah.
Daniel Icaris' KOE.
And this is the one that we noticed the big mistake.
Oh, this is the no BSB guy, huh?
Yeah. He's also got
Uh-oh.
an interesting lord.
Right, the Wormwood Core and the...
Uh-huh.
And his picture is also wrong. There's supposed to be an extra 6-man of Knights of the Realm. So there's actually 3 units of Knights of the Realm.
There's 3 of those 6-man units?
Yeah,
Whoa, he's got a lot of knights, huh?
like I was
Yeah.
saying.
It was like there's one thing to look at the list and then another thing to see it on the table.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's like, Cody, you have 4 units of knights plus the pegs.
Yep.
This guy has 6 knights plus a small peg unit.
It's
Yeah, it's-
pretty intense.
And they're Knights of the Realm, too. They're not Errant Knights. So he's got small units of Knights of the Realm, the medium grade Knights.
Oh, that's right. These are the more medium ones instead of the...
Yeah,
But they have higher weapon skill, higher strength, but no They only have 1 attack on the charge instead of 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're more expensive.
They also have higher leadership.
By 1?
Yeah.
Yeah. I suppose it's worth mentioning.
What's
Hmm.
his opponent? Daniel Icarus.
Okay.
No. What's Daniel Icarus' opponent? Billy Smith. Get that army up there too. There you go.
Right. So. Yeah.
He does not have the divine judgment to blow up the monstrous stuff on his Duke.
No, but he
Exactly.
has so many knights.
Yeah.
And he has such a high armor save. I mean,
Yeah.
realistically, what can take on the knight units very, very well?
Probably the miser, for one.
Okay, so he's got.
And the miser basically just.
What is
doesn't even
the
care about them.
what does that war machine gun thing do?
We
What's
got
the AP on that?
Hope Harvester.
It's pretty good,
Fires
actually.
an ether battery, volley gun, range 18, 2d6 times 2, strength 4, AP 1.
Oh, what?
Yeah, so it's only AP1. That's what I was worried about. I was thinking
Huh.
it was AP2, but
I
if
thought
it's
so
just
too.
1, then I'm concerned. The brass bowls are very good on the charge, but they can only do so much work outside of the characters.
Yeah.
That
mean-
said, that at least the big guy is going to have a heyday.
He's got a bunch. Yeah, sorry, go on, Cody.
The miser's good to go, I think, man. As long as he doesn't get charged too often, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got the deceiver, which is pretty good in combat, but just offensively, I'm scared for him surviving this battle if he's in combat. The miser,
Well, he's got all these Lemurs too. These resilience 5 core troops.
Yeah.
So
yeah, but they're so weak offensively.
well, the Kalama's deceiver is going to give one of them poison attacks.
Oh,
And
I'm
then
not
we'll-
saying that, but I mean they're strength 3, but the knights are resilience 3, so the poison attacks would probably have a good shot at wounding anyway.
Yeah, that's true.
But then they don't have any AP.
Yeah, that is
So
definitely the point.
I mean, it's a 2-up save. So even if you're rolling 20 of them, you're gonna save most of those, a
Yeah.
vast majority. So I'm looking at what models can actually do some damage. The bloat flies with their acid blood is an interesting option, but you don't have any way to heal, and he's only got 3 of them. The brazen beasts on the charge is really good.
Yeah, it's AP.
Those go up to AP2. And then the Hope Harvester and the Miser. The Miser can take on anything in this list without too much difficulty.
Yeah, I think the damsel's pretty protected from the Mage Blight Gremlins.
Yes.
But if they went into a unit, say in the rear, like they popped up from an ambush and into a rear of a knight unit, that could scare the knights pretty hard because of the smell craving, where they get plus combat res.
Daniel Icarus, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so he knows 5 spells. The damsel does. So the gremlins would have +5 to their combat res.
Yeah.
So if you hit him in the flank or the rear, then the gremlins will probably win on combat res.
Yeah, and that's a discipline test that this army needs to take, and it doesn't have a BSB.
So it's a question.
Yeah.
It'll be steadfast though, so it'll be on the 9, right?
Yeah, probably.
8 or 9.
Yeah.
So it's likely that he'll pass it, but
Yikes.
the but is always there with no reroll.
The reroll
Yeah.
needs to pass like 80% of the failures, you know. So.
Yeah, if you don't plan on taking any tests, then you don't need the BSB, right?
I
You
think-
just win all your combats.
I think the Mage Light Gremlins could force a test at a critical moment. So.
Yes. especially if one of them's stuck in with those Resilience 5 core troops.
Yeah, I think the Kingdoms player is definitely a little bit in trouble here, to be honest. This is tough.
You know, I'm going to go the other way. I'm going to go with the KOE.
Yeah.
Yes, we're talking about how hard some of these things are to do wounds and matchups and all this different stuff. I think the KOE's got this one.
It's the charging. You get your charges off as he's got a lot of units that charge. 6 units that charge, and a Duke is actually built to take on block troops a little better than most other Dukes.
Yes.
He's got a strength 5 breath weapon that'll help in a pivotal combat.
Yeah.
And the brass bulls and the plague bloatflies, they don't like being charged.
No, if they don't get the charge, then they're not happy.
Yeah, I guess that is, he is outranged in the charges here, the Demons player. So that's
so the Duke versus those bloatflies is actually a really good matchup because he uses the Worm Core Lance, which is flaming, so the bloatflies don't get any reflex hits.
Yeah, because you can't even take fortitude saves.
Yeah, he still gets the 5-up save, but
can't be acid blooded.
Can't be acid blooded.
But I mean, even with the acid blood, it's only on a 3rd chance.
Yeah.
And they've only got, 12 wounds total? 4 wounds apiece? Something like that.
Yeah.
Look at it.
Well,
Yeah.
shit, I guess...
You going to switch? I'm going
No.
KOE.
I ain't switching. Billy's got it.
Billy's got it. And
Maybe.
for the final prediction of the night,
Maybe.
morning, KOE are going to take this one.
Okay.
Da-da-da-da.
Yeah, I definitely see where you guys are coming from on that. Wouldn't be surprised if that is what happened. Charges and it's a lot of stuff, but that lack of a BSB could really screw him.
Yes.
Yeah.
Take a terror test. I charge you with my giant demon. Okay, I'll take a terror test. Oh,
Yeah.
sheesh, I failed it, and I can't get a reroll now. Bye. Jeez,
There are a couple things that don't have to take the test. Grails are immune.
Well, that's good.
I think that might be it, and the Griffin probably.
Yeah. Okay.
Maybe. I don't know.
Well, we will see.
Yeah, the Griffin's probably not fearless, huh?
Griffin fearless. No, I don't. I think it can flee, but he's got the Grail vow.
No,
No.
he's a normal Duke. And
Okay.
he does cause fear, so
It doesn't matter for terror tests.
yeah, terror tests still happen, but you're not affected by normal fear in combat.
Correct.
Yeah, I think if KOE loses this game, it's highly likely to be because of a failed discipline test.
Yes. Agreed. I think it would be hilarious. You charge something with your big guy and it runs away because of the failed panic test, and then you charge something, you redirect, and that thing flees also, and then the demons just take the field.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
We'll see. That's interesting.
Yeah. Well, best of luck to the Brett player there.
All right.
All right. So, do we want to continue going?
That
Just shooting the shit.
Just
What's the like underdog story? It's like you chose a certain army and you're like, this is the most likely army to get the upset.
Most likely to get the upset. I don't know.
I have to say Kenyon's gonna win that game, as unlikely to get an upset. Most likely to get an upset.
Just to spite John, huh?
That'd be funny. No, and I totally, I hear you, because like karmic justice is against me. Absolutely, So.
I'm gonna go with my opponent. That vampires list. I think everything's gonna go wrong for me, and and I'll have no shot, and he's gonna win.
All
You
right.
gotta. Dude, I'm gonna give you one of those like self-help seminar advices right now, okay? You gotta visualize your success, okay? You gotta manifest it by believing in it. All right.
Noted.
I mean, geez, let's. I want to see Noah take on. I want to see Noah beat that Dark Elf player.
Oh yeah,
I really do.
That'd be a
I really do. Noah's
That
a
was
young.
Warriors of the Dark Gods, right?
Yeah, he's a younger kid. You know, he's a newer player. But he's definitely gotten a lot better since he started like a couple years ago. And
Sure.
you know, I think he is. This is gonna be like, I don't know. It's like a bit of a Rudy story for me because like I see Noah coming into this game, seeing all this shooting. He's definitely gonna not be feeling it. He's gonna think I know him. He's gonna be like, damn it, a lot of shooting. This is gonna be lame. But if he gets what he wants and just starts winning, you know, then you know he'll be on top of the world. And
Yep. Just stay in it, Noah. Believe in your Warriors. Make those armor saves.
yeah,
You got that.
you don't even need that many models to savage the Dread Elves once you get to them. So you just gotta
Yep.
be resolute and believe.
And pick the right attributes on your Herald.
Don't roll bad.
don't.
Just don't roll bad. You got this.
Oh,
Yeah, I'd love to see that happen for sure.
What's the game that you guys would most want to watch?
the dragon, the colossal dragon versus Gabe.
Yeah, that's a good one right there. I agree.
That's a pretty good one. I want to see the Beastman versus you, Cody.
Yeah, that's a fun one.
Oh
too.
yeah, dude, absolutely. That's gonna be nuts. It's just gonna be a big like, you know, it's really gonna come down to those charges. It's gonna be
Two
some long-range
combat
charges.
armies really wanting to go mash it up in the middle.
I really want to see how Ryan, my fellow highborn brother, does against the Orcs and Goblins list.
Right?
You know, I'm honestly, I can see how it could go. I would love to see how effective, you know, the Sea Guard and the Chariots are, and the Phoenix, the units that I'm not using. I would love to see how he's, you know, how he utilizes them, and that'd be really interesting for me anyway, just personally.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Now here's a match I don't want to watch because I'm gonna feel like, you know, I just don't, you know, I feel bad for the opponent. Hold on, who's Pablo playing again? The ogre player?
You're in.
You're in the
You're
undead.
on.
Oh, never mind. Now, actually, I know. So I do want to watch that match actually for a different reason now, and that is because if you know Pablo, you know he's definitely, you know, potential high levels of sodium can be, you know, emitting. So, I know how it's gonna go, and
So we're all going to be paying attention to that game on the other side of the room.
yeah. Well, you won't have a choice because Pablo will probably start, you know, he'll start getting all tilted. You'll be able to hear it from the other side of the room.
Sure. I don't know. He's got so much shooting, so he should be winning early. It depends on if he rolls ones to wound.
And he will. Trust me.
All right. Last question. I guess two more questions. What's the scariest army for your particular list?
Sure.
I think David.
I was
have
also
good things against David.
gonna say David's list because unlike the other vampire armies, his is faster. But then again, it's a little bit more. Playing against David's going to be a lot more fast-paced because when you're playing against Foot Guard, you know, it takes some time to get to you, and you know, you're not really feeling that pressure right away. But
Right.
against David's list, the pressure is going to be pretty quick, so it's going to be up to, you know, I'm going to have to be really acute and careful and make sure that I get my Lord where I need to get him without getting like accidentally charged in the flank by some Vamp Knights that I didn't see or something.
Sure.
You know, so it's like it's all going to come down right away. You know, so it's like I'm not going to have any time to sit back, you know, pop my feet up and shoot some bolt throwers. You know, I will be shooting the bolt throwers, but it's going to be like, I imagine he's going to get right in my face very, very quick. And I think getting the first turn is going to be very useful for me just to sort of give me even just a little more time
in the beginning of the game.
Yep.
All right. And as a grinding combat army, I'm going to say all of the undead.
Right. Honestly, yeah. Can I change my answer? All of the
Jesus.
undead as well. Because
With 6 undead armies, you are going to be facing them throughout the tournament. There's no way that you would be able to realistically expect to avoid them.
Dude, I'm just gonna have to. I'm gonna play vampires and Undying Dynasties the entire tournament or something.
Yeah.
I had a tournament once where
Here's
out of
five games. You play 4 of them against undead.
I had a tournament once where out of 5 games, 4 of them were against demons, and I was playing demons. So it was a demons versus demons, 4 out of 5 games.
Ouch.
It was so ridiculous.
There's going to be quite a few undead on undead matchups too. We already have at least one of them in the opening round.
Well, see, I was thinking because of how Mike's got the trophies set up, you should have a minimum of 2 games against other people in your division.
It's like football.
Yeah. So like all the KOEs would have to like fight each other, and all the undeads would have to fight each other.
You could have a best of division that way.
Right. And then
Me and
that
Ryan.
really breaks up best of division, because then you've got at least 2 games, so it brings the winners of those together in that second round. So you get a much more of a good emphasis on actually who is the best in the division rather than who has the best matchups throughout the tournament.
It's an interesting idea. I don't know if mirror matches are the best way to make it happen.
I don't know.
I just hope I'm blessed with good opponents, because sometimes you get these tournaments where you just get bad matchups all the time.
Right. You could do something, Cody, where you, instead of having it be per race, you just everyone gets thrown into different random groups.
Yep.
So you don't have the face off between different specific armies all the time.
Right.
Anyway, just something interesting to think about. Last question that I have. Top spot, number 1, 2, 3.
Myself, you, Warner, and then Cody.
Obviously.
Obviously.
We're obviously the smartest people in the room, right? So.
I could go.
I think I'm the only person in my room, so I win.
Yeah, ditto.
Yeah, same. So I mean, by default, we're all winners.
All right.
Yay!
Well, a little more serious.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm going to say that David's going to be up there.
I don't think that's too far-fetched to say. I think Urund has definitely got a pretty good shot at rolling through his opponents. I mean, the thing about Urund is that he's bringing a pretty. It's not the army as much for me, but it's like, I mean, he's a great player. He knows exactly what he's doing. He's well practiced. The amount of mistakes that he makes are less than your average player, and so I think your average player versus Urund with this crazy combat undead list. It's going to be difficult. It's going to be, I imagine Urund getting quite a few 20-0s in this tournament.
It's going to be hard to keep up with that, just because the army is just so fast.
Yeah.
All right. Not to toot my own horn, I think I'm going to be up there.
Hell yeah.
And I think Cody's going to be up there. So those 4. Sorry, John.
No, you know what? I think, honestly, there are a lot of lists and matches in this tournament that my list definitely doesn't have all the answers to. And, like, for example, 6 undead players. I mean, in general, my style list doesn't favor me playing undead.
Oh, absolutely not. You're more of a grindy, whittle them down over the course of the entire game. So is mine.
I ideally cause some panic tests,
right.
Things like that.
All right, so I guess the caveat with Cody's is that he has to get the right matchups and stay away from those undeads, because all of the undeads are pretty scary.
Yeah, some of them, though, I think Cody could just blow them out of the water. Like the one with all the small units, like Banner the Last Charge, big unit, just got to be like, kabam!
All right, so I guess we've got a set with Urund and Otero.
I think so. I think David will be up there. I don't think he's gonna get one of the top 3 spots, and the reason I think that is because I see David's list as having a lot less stability than some of the other undead lists. He has
Sure.
the speed. He has the speed, but if something kind of goes wrong and combat's lost by too much, I mean, the Black Knights, there's not that many of them, could
Right.
just crumble too much.
Yeah, but you've got the BSB in there to help mitigate those, and they're stubborn.
Yeah.
So that really cuts it. I mean, literally, it cuts the crumble in half. We'll see.
It strikes me as as opposed to like Euron's Undying Dynasties, like every unit Euron has in that list is like a big brick, and I don't think it's just gonna I don't think there's as many opportunities for it to lose by a bunch and crumble.
Sure.
A lot.
Yeah, you could look at it that way with everything in Euron's list is like a combat threat, and Otero really has 1.
Like 1.5, because the Blood Knights are pretty decent as well, I suppose. But
yeah, sure. So we can call that 2, but Euron has what, 4
4 or 5, yeah.
serious combat threats.
Yeah, very serious indeed. 4 super nasty fast units. Yeah.
All right, and just one last one. Who do you hope does well, even if you don't necessarily expect it? I'm going to say Orcs and Goblins.
So
You want the Orcs and Goblins player to do well?
Oh yeah, I'm not a big fan of the list.
You want to believe?
I want to believe in it. I want to
Yeah.
be able to say, look, Orcs and Goblins are pretty damn good. I'd like to be able to bring them and be confident in all my games, but
Sure.
every list that I make with them, it's always just, I'm thinking that this sucks.
Yeah. I want Ryan, the other Highborn player. I want
Yeah.
him to do well. There's a bit of a thing going around, at least here in the local Colorado group, and not just in the Colorado group, but I think it's just a general consensus among the 9th Age community that Highborn elves are struggling a lot right now. So it'd be really cool to see how, in general, Ryan and myself, obviously, but since we're talking
Right.
about someone else, how Ryan stacks up against these other players. Like, also because our lists are so similar that it's, like it's very comparable. You could say like, okay, well, if Ryan did this well in that game versus that guy, well, then my list would probably be able to do the same thing or close to it or something. So it's like, it kind of like whoever Ryan plays and however that game goes, I can in my mind kind of say, oh, okay, so that might be how it goes for me too, potentially.
Yep.
And I can learn a lot from I could be like, Ryan, how'd you lose? And he could tell me. And, or
You can make a mental note. Don't do that.
yeah. He's like, well, I marched my Phoenix right in front of these Chosen with great weapons, and I turned it around, and I don't know.
They charged me in the rear, and yeah.
That's it. I don't know.
Don't do that.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, I would like Ryan to do well.
Honorable
Especially-
mention for me is the Skaven, the Vermin Swarms.
Oh, sure.
It's a very interesting list.
Yeah, shout out to Omer there for sure.
I mean, he's got the biggest things with the 2 Doom Wheels that show up in almost every single list. But other than that, it's got a lot of different aspects that I'm not used to seeing. So anyway. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
no, I 100% agree with you there.
All right. Well, I think we're gonna sign off. It's been enough of you guys listening to us.
Yeah, all right. For the ghosts in the room, we thank you. No.